If you're looking for a premium OE quality suspension for your 2015 or newer four-wheel drive F-150, this 0 to 2-inch Roush Suspension Coil-Over Kit with shocks is a system that you'll want to consider. Now, right off the bat, I do want to mention that this is not compatible with the CCD system, the continuously controlled dampening system, the Lightning, the Power Boost, and the Tremor model, so just make sure that you're getting the right suspension for your truck. Now, nonetheless, if you've started to notice that your suspension isn't what it once was, you're getting less control with your handling and need a replacement, but also want a suspension that's more functional, this kit is going to deliver that. Now, this comes with the benefit to adjust your front end height to set to your personal preference and specifically tuned components that are perfect for responsive day-to-day driving in addition to tougher off-road situations, making this a quality hybrid system. Now, this system here is the same suspension used on all Roush production F-150s, and there are two main features with this set: the height increase that you're getting and the performance improvement. Now, first, the coilovers are adjustable and will reach up to 2 inches of lift in the front, improving your front end ground clearance for better approach angles if you are taking your F-150 off-road, allowing you to fit up to a 33-inch tire in the wheel well and adding overall a more aggressive and leveled presence to your build. And the kit also features custom tuned springs and shock rates for a balanced feel, offering better ride quality on road with a more controlled and stable feel, especially through corners, and remaining comfortable like your day-to-day OE suspension that's not worn out, yet these are durable for off-road high and low speed scenarios. These also retain factory towing and payload capabilities, so when it comes to towing and hauling, you can rest assured that this system will support it. Now, the shocks and coilovers are made of a mix of materials, steel and aluminum materials, for a durable construction for on and off-road wear resistance. Now, the coilover shock bodies are zinc plated, and these springs and shocks do have a premium powder coating to resist any rust or corrosion on the materials, especially if you are driving your truck in harsher climates. Now, this of course has that signature Roush styling, finished in a bold red color, offering that OE Plus look peeking through your undercarriage. Now, the kit is also going to come with all new bushings for a refreshed feel and all new hardware that you need for a bolt-on install process. Now, this is about $1,500 when it comes to the full kit. Now, suspension, especially coilovers, range heavily in price, all depending on their design, performance level, and what's included in the kit. Now, this is more of a mid-level choice, definitely being a big step up from other entry-level options with the OE Roush specifically tuned design for the F-150, the fully adjustable coilover build, and the inclusion of shocks in the kit, but it doesn't tip the scales with some more high-performance race features that you may not necessarily need for your application. Now, again, if you are doing some hybrid driving and you want an adjustable system that's also very reliable, especially one that you see on the higher trim F-150s out of the factory, then this is going to be a great option for you. Now, the install here is a 3 out of 3 wrenches on the difficulty meter. They are working with suspension here, so I do recommend getting this either professionally done or if you do have the experience, you can do it with the right tools and the right setup. And it should take about 3 hours when doing so. Now, I also, whenever you're working with suspension, definitely recommend an alignment after it's complete for the correct wear and performance with your setup. Now, at this point, I'm gonna hand it over to one of our installers. They're gonna show you a step-by-step breakdown on how you can install this, whether you are just curious about the install or you're tackling this job yourself. So that wraps it up for me. Let's go ahead and get into it.
For this install, you will need various impacts, a swivel adapter, 8, 10, 15, 18, 21, and 22 millimeter sockets, 15, 18, and 21 millimeter wrenches, a bungee cord, a large hammer, a pry bar if needed. Also not shown here is a jack and jack stands or a pole jack, and blue thread locker. All right, today we're going to be installing a lift kit on our F-150, so let's get started. All right, so we've got the truck in the air, we've got the wheels off. The first thing we're going to do is remove our tie rod from our knuckle. We've got our 21 millimeter socket on our impact. I'm going to remove this nut. Now we'll leave it on a couple threads to catch it because we're going to have to separate it. Now, to separate this, you can use a ball joint removal tool, or if you don't have that, you can grab a hammer and you can give it some slight taps on the knuckle or see if it'll just gently come out like so. Once it's unseated, we'll remove the nut fully. Pop this out. We'll just put that nut right back on there. Just keep track of it. Next, what we're going to do is remove our ABS and brake line brackets from our knuckle and the frame bracket up here. This is going to prevent excess tension from our lines when we separate our knuckle from our upper control arm. So we've got our 8mm socket for our ABS line, and then we'll use our 10mm socket for our two 10mm bolts holding those brackets in. Now we'll grab our 10mm socket. That one out. Close this one. Now we're going to remove our sway bar end link nut going through our lower control arm. So we've got our 18mm socket. Pop that off. Next, we're going to remove our two lower strut mounting nuts. Now, doing this at home from the factory, you should have studs going through your strut with 18mm nuts. However, due to many previous installs, ours have been pressed out, so we have through bolts. So we're going to use our 21mm wrench and our 22mm socket. Get our other one out as well. Now we're going to need to separate our upper ball joint from our knuckle. Before we do that, we're going to grab a bungee cord and wrap it around the top of our knuckle. That's going to prevent this from coming down and causing excess tension on our axle and pulling that out. We don't want that. So we'll make sure you're not going to pinch any lines hooking this in. That'll be there to catch it. Then we're going to use our 18mm socket and swivel adapter to get our nut off. And just like with our tie rod, we're going to leave this on a few threads. Sometimes you get lucky and that pops right out. Now we can fully remove our nut and lay our knuckle to the side. Now if it is under a little bit of tension, you can grab an 18mm ratcheting wrench. Don't want to let it fall freely. And now we have our nut loose. As you can see, our control arm is popped up. Just going to push this up, let our knuckle rest to the side. Now we're going to loosen up and remove our three upper strut mounting nuts, and we're going to grab our 15mm ratcheting wrench to do that. Now once you get this last one all the way out, we're going to support our strut, remove that, and then we can pull our strut out. We'll lift up on our strut, get our nut off, and remove our strut. Now once you got this side out, you can do the same thing for the other side. All right, moving on to the rear, we're going to be removing our rear shocks. Now for the bottom mounting bolt, we're going to need our 18mm socket and 15mm wrench. Then up top, the way the bolts face, we'll need our 15mm socket and 18mm wrench. So we've got a pole jack underneath to help support our weight of our rear. We'll get these bolts out and get our shock off. So we're going to remove the nut from our bottom bolt. We'll keep this bolt in. We'll take our top one off. Again, for this top one, you want your 18mm wrench, 15mm socket. Now we'll support our shock and pull our bottom bolt. Pull our top one and remove our shock. Now that you got this side out, you can do the same thing for the other side. Now we've got our new shock. We're going to get our top bolt in first. We're going to reuse our factory hardware. Line this up. top bolt through. We're going to loosely install our flag nut. Again, it's still good to use a wrench for this just to keep it steady. Now we can get our bottom shock mount bolt in, and we will need to compress our shock. You can do this by hand, these are pretty soft, but if you need a pry bar or something to help persuade it, go ahead and grab that. Push this up. Then we'll get our nut back in place. We'll get our 18mm nut back on, and we'll come back and tighten all this down. We'll grab our 15mm socket and tighten down our upper bolt. Now we'll grab our 18mm socket and 15mm wrench and tighten down our bottom bolt. Once you have this side on, you can repeat the same process for the other side. All right, so now we can begin installing our new front struts. We've got our struts here. These are bi-directional, so it doesn't matter which side, they'll fit on both driver and passenger. Now before we install these, it is recommended by the manufacturer to use some blue thread locker on all your threads. For demonstration purposes, we're not going to be applying that, but you definitely want to do that at home. Blue, not red. You want serviceability. Red's going to be a little bit too tough. So once you have that applied, we'll get this in, line up our upper mounting studs, and get our supplied flange nuts loosely in place. Once you have your first nut on, it's going to hold it in place, so you can just put the other two loosely on. Now that we have these loosely in place, we'll get our bottom mounting hardware on. All right, so now we're going to get our bottom mounting bolts on, so we'll line up our lower perch. Now, one thing to note is these mounting points come pretty flat, and sometimes you will need to angle them to get your bolts through. What I like to do is grab an extension or a large punch. We're going to put that through one of our bolt holes just as an alignment tool, and you may have to pull back on this while we grab one of our bolts. Get this lined up, and you can kind of pivot it. Once you work it in, that bolt should just fall right into place. And that's going to hold position. We can get our other bolt through as well. Okay. Now once you've got these all the way through, you may have to fiddle with your strut and your perch a little bit to get them seated. But once they're all the way through, you want to grab your supplied flange nuts, get those on to our bolts. Then we're going to grab our 21mm socket for our nut and our 18mm wrench for our bolt head, and we'll tighten these down. Get our wrench onto our bolt heads. We'll tighten this one down as well. Now that we have these bottom bolts tight, we'll come in and tighten down our upper mounting nuts with our 18mm ratcheting wrench. Now we can get our upper ball joint back into our knuckle, so we'll swing this back into place. You can also remove your bungee cord now. You have to lift up on this a bit. Get that through and reinstall your nut. Now we'll grab our 18mm socket and swivel adapter and tighten this back down. Next we'll get our tie rod back into our knuckle. Pick this up. Line this back up. Drop it back in, reinstall our nut. And we'll grab our 21mm socket and tighten this down. Now we're going to reinstall our 18mm nut for our sway bar link. Tighten that back down with our 18mm socket. Now we can reinstall our brake line, hose, and ABS bracket. So we've got our 10mm socket for our brake line, as well as our brake hose bracket. And then our 8mm for our ABS. Now once you got this side on, you can repeat this same process for the other side, and always remember to torque your hardware down to the manufacturer recommended specifications. And once you've got this all complete, you definitely want to take your vehicle in for an alignment. Alrighty, that about wraps up our review and install of our Roush Suspension Coil-Over Kit with shocks for a 0 to 2 inch lift for your 15 and current 4-wheel drive F-150 without CCD system and excluding the Power Boost, Raptor, and Tremor. Thanks for watching, and as always, for everything F-150, keep it right here at AmericanTrucks.com.